You got beef with someone that feels like it will never be resolved, a years-long dispute with two parties firmly standing their ground, unable to see the other side. The Community Justice Centre in the Northern Territory Government Service offers free dispute resolution services. Recently, you heard from Jane in Alice Springs, who's been through the process.
So obviously it was something that was, it was a conflict that we couldn't kind of deal with on our own. And so when mediation was suggested, both parties we were definitely keen to resolve the issue. So in the beginning, I was quite emotional. It wasn't something that I felt like I could deal with alone. So it was really great to have that support. When we had the mediation, it was awesome. We were able to talk about it. We were able to see both sides with the story, and then we realised it was just like a big miscommunication. So the result was so great, and we were able to go back out and do our thing.
So that's a good result. But I imagine when you were entering that mediation, did you feel anxious about it?
Yeah, I did. Personally, I did feel that way. But like I said, when you get to sit down in mediation in a situation like that, it's really great because you do get to see both sides of the story, and then you kind of realise maybe I looked at it a certain way or maybe I just misunderstood. And then, you both come to an agreement. It's important that you get to see each other's sides without the emotions, and I think it was a really great setting to be able to do that.
How long did that process take? Did you have a number of meetings through that mediation?
So we were lucky enough to be able to resolve our conflict in just one sitting, which was really great. Yeah, we had a really great outcome. And the thing about it is prior to going into mediation, I didn't think we would resolve it at all. I just thought there's no way we're going to get past this. We were very lucky. I think it was about a 3-week process. And that was obviously dealing with the conflict and then being referred to mediation.
Were you in tears when you walked out the door in the end?
Yes, we were. And actually my support person was quite emotional about it too, yes.
One example of the Community Justice Centre helping a Territorian find resolution. So I want to bring back a couple of people from that centre. Claire Cohen is the practice manager at the Darwin Centre. Claire, welcome back.
Thanks, Adam.
And a man who, I heard in 1994 won the best dancer competition at the Kopan Yang Full Moon Dance Party as he was dancing along to this because he's pretty good at it. The best Ugga-doo-doo dancer of all time. Andy Wharton, consultant mediator with the centre. What have you done with your Ugga-doo-doo trophy, by the way, your pineapple trophy?
I hate to ruin the story, Adam, but I didn't even dance at my own wedding.
What? That's what these dancers are for. Grown men who like to shuffle on side to side.
I dance on the inside.
Really?
Yeah.
So your wife just had to dance by herself. I'm never going to dance again like that, like some type of... okay, all right, well, we'll move on from that there because that didn't work. This was a good result. Let's move to back what we're talking about.
Indeed.
How often does it work out? We just heard from Jane there who said everyone's in tears in the end. There's this sigh of relief. The mediator's in tears. Everyone goes, oh my gosh, this has worked so well. It works in one go. How often does a situation like that work out so well?
So, Adam, I'd say a lot of the time, and I think we've talked about this in previous sessions here. Everybody always walks out with something, even if it's not a final agreement, and that is getting a better understanding of what's happened for each other. But often that understanding leads to, hey, an agreement that we're all really happy with. Nobody's compromised. Nobody feels like it's been a win or lose situation. Or
like that text I read out earlier on from Bailey where the neighbourhood kids are flocking to mangoes from the tree. In the end, not only is the situation resolved, but the situation is increased and enhanced because both parties get mangoes and both parties get fish. It's got to be a good result.
Oh, absolutely. The international currency of barramundi. But I mean, what happened there is each party started to understand each other's interests. And so as a result, they changed their positions. And as a result of that, the future was better. And we see that all the time. I think it's fair to say, Claire, vast majority of cases that we mediate end up with a resolution.
So what are some practical ways people can use negotiation or conflict resolution in their own lives?
I think it's a simple one, but it's actually not a simple task to do, and that's good listening. Like, how often do we feel, I just want to be heard, or we might say that to somebody, I just want you to listen to me, I want to be heard. And I think it's really growing in that skill of listening. And some of the keys to that are kind of not listening to just then get to our bit and say what we want to say, but listening without judgment. So really doing some thinking before we have particularly a deep conversation and going, can I put aside some of my blame, shame, judgment stuff and really come to this conversation to listen to and hear what matters to the other person?
It's certainly something that I've learned from our discussions is that when you are listening to somebody, don't spend half the time preparing for what you're going to say in response to what they're saying. You actually just have to stop your brain, just listen.
Exactly. It's a conscious decision, and it's listening to understand as opposed to listening to prepare a response or to defend. And there's a massive difference.
Mediation often features in Hollywood films. Here's Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn parading as mediators in The Wedding Crashers.
Do not talk about that. I am sick of you accusing me of not being a good mother. I hate you.
I told you this was a bad idea.
You know what, Ken? The bad idea would be to let your client walk out of here today and drag this thing out for another year, wasting more time and wasting more money. The only good idea is to let me and John do our job and mediate this thing right here.
You want to hear the crazy thing? I know it doesn't feel like it, but we're making progress. You didn't always hate each other. There had to be some nice moments during the courtship, maybe? Or the wedding.
The wedding had to be fun.
You get the decorations, families coming together. That's a nice moment. What'd you have to eat?
Crab cakes.
Are you kidding me? I do not have a good time eating crab cakes. I love them.
And
They're
you got a
phenomenal.
band? Did you have a band?
Yeah.
Good or bad?
It's a great band. It's a bad band. It's like pizza, baby. It's good no matter what. There's music in the air.
And shout and
Yeah.
hey, a little bit
Shout now. Jump up and shout now.
Andy, what can we learn from Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson?
Oh, we can learn so much there. So, as hilarious as that is one of my favourite all-time clips. We actually do that, minus the tomfoolery, don't we, Claire, in mediations. So it's actually one of the skills of a mediator is to sometimes take the parties back to a time when the relationship was good, or back to the time long before the dispute ever rose. And by doing that, you can get them out of their negative self-talk spin that they're in. You can actually project them back and almost reset them in time.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And, you know, particularly with mediations that I've done where people have been known to each other for some time, connected in community, there's an exception to the hard conflict story that they're coming to mediation for. There are exceptions in there. There are times when there was communication. The reason they're coming to mediation is because there's a mutual thing they really care about. So often as mediators, we can really do some of that exploring work when we're preparing them for mediation. And then they're coming into that mediation space with, hey, there is some things that I'm thankful for, grateful for, or really motivated to get back to through this mediation.
Okay, so that's some of the great work you do. If there's someone listening going, oh, I think this might be something that I'm interested in. What about wanting to become a mediator?
So there's a couple of stages in that, and one of the key ones is you can do some training. So it's a week intensive. In the near future, it looks like that's going to get longer as well, where it's very practical. So you're doing a bit of theory, but you're spending a lot of the week practicing being a mediator. And the amazing thing about the National Mediator Training is that there are coaches there with you. So for 2 intensive days, you've got coaches really supportive with experience along there speaking into that training.
And do you have to come from a certain background? Do you have to have certain tertiary qualifications to do so?
No, you don't. I mean, I left public service after 23 years and I sat down and decided I wanted to start my own business, and I figured out which skills I needed to acquire and literally thought, I want to become a mediator. And you don't need any tertiary qualifications. You need life experience and a willingness and a desire to get into conflict resolution. That is it. We got mediators from all walks of life. I mean, there are obviously a lot of lawyer mediators or legally qualified mediators out there. There's a lot of social work background mediators out there. but they come from all walks of life, and that's the great thing. Anyone can do it if you've got the desire.
Well, in fact, it's probably the point, isn't it, that you want to have people from a larger section of the community to be able to mediate, because not every mediator is going to work well with every single group that they're encountering, are they? I mean, people get along in different ways.
Yeah, exactly. And we co-mediate sometimes at the Community Justice Centre, don't we, Claire?
Yeah, and sometimes you can swap mediators, can't you? If you go, oh, this isn't feeling right, it's not really connecting with me.
Absolutely right, Adam. And again, I think a message we've put forward is when we're mediating, we're always looking for, hey, what's the right time? What's the right people, who needs to be, and part of who the right people is, who's the right mediators. And sometimes we don't know that up the front. So that's a bit of a journey as well.
You're on ABC Radio Darwin, right across the Northern Territory. It's 28 to 11. Your special guest this morning, Claire Cohen, who's the practice manager at the Darwin Community Justice Centre, and Andy Wharton, who's a consultant mediator with the centre. There is also a centre or an operational area in Alice Springs, so let's not forget there as well. So if people would like to become a mediator, what's the first step you suggest? Where should they go? What should they do?
So they can contact the CJC for training. There are other training organisations as well. So we would be letting people know about those because different trainings have different strengths and different timings. So you could certainly contact our office around trainings and we can point you in the right direction. That's the first stage. The next stage would then, if you've done that training, you then actually do go on to do an assessment. And that's externally assessed by experienced mediators. Once you come through that stage, then you can apply to be accredited as a mediator.
It's good to talk to you, Claire. Good to talk to you, Andy. Good work on your dancing skills.
Good on you, Adam.
Thank you. So the Community Justice Centre, contact them if you'd be interested in becoming a mediator, or you need some mediation help. Of course, they are there for you as well. You are on ABC Radio Darwin, 27 to 11, right across the Northern Territory. Right, so the Fruity Boomer Box.